It takes years to build trust and just seconds to break it. Trust is the most fragile thing in a relationship. Once it's fractured, everything else starts to feel uncertain. According to a recent YouGov survey, 94% of Americans say that trust is the most important factor in a successful relationship, more than love, honesty, or even respect. But what happens when that trust is broken? I'm Jordan Travers, a licensed psychotherapist, and I've worked with countless couples to rebuild trust in their relationship when they were questioning whether to walk away. Trust doesn't always fall apart in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it breaks in ordinary ways. A white lie here, a broken promise there, telling your partner that you're fine when you're not, and doing it over and over again. Or ignoring their boundaries, dismissing their feelings, constantly showing up late, or not showing up at all. When someone can't rely on your words or your actions, something shifts. The consistency is gone, and without consistency, trust starts to crack. Then there's manipulation, the subtle kind, withholding information, twisting the truth just enough to stay in control, acting with hidden motives, saying what they want to hear but doing something else behind the scenes. Over time, all of this builds a kind of emotional tension. And even if nothing explosive happens, your partner starts asking, can I really trust them? Or are they really just good at pretending? That's how trust breaks, not just with betrayal, but with insecurity, with that creeping doubt that the person beside you might not be fully honest, fully safe, or fully there. A 2017 study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior analyzed conversations between 34 teenage couples. When they asked what trust meant to them, every single pair mentioned one fear above all: infidelity. But their fear wasn't always about what their partner did. For many, it came from past betrayal, low self-worth, or even subtle behaviors outside the relationship. Things like gossip, flirting, or being excluded. The study revealed that trust is symbolic, not just about your partner's actions. It's filtered through your self-esteem, your past, and the world around you. That is to say that when you enter a relationship, you already have a trust threshold, and that threshold looks different for everyone. If you walk in with low trust, it doesn't take much to feel betrayed. If you walk in with high trust, you might be more open to forgiving and working things through. But here's the truth. No matter how strong your threshold is, trust can still be broken. And once it breaks, repairing it isn't easy, but it is possible. That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. According to a major review, trust is defined as a psychological state, one where you're willing to be vulnerable because you expect the other person's intentions to be good. But here's the catch. Once trust is broken, you can't just go back to how things were. This review found that trust repair happens in stages, and it requires more than just an apology. Researchers identified 3 core pathways that shape whether trust can be rebuilt. Attributional repair. This is all about the why. People ask, why did they betray me? Was it a one-time lapse? Or is it a sign of who they really are? If the answer feels forgivable, trust has a better chance of surviving. Social equilibrium repair. This is about fairness and emotional balance. After a betrayal, the relationship feels out of sync. One person is hurt and the other might be defensive or ashamed. Repair here means that both people actively work to restore balance, emotionally, socially, and behaviorally. Structural repair. This is where action speaks louder than words. It's not enough to just say, I'm sorry. You need visible structural change. That might look like more transparency, changed routines, or new boundaries that make the other person feel safer again. And here's what most people miss. Trust repair isn't just about going back to the way things were. The research defines repair as any increase in trust above the lowest point after the betrayal. But complete repair, that's when trust is rebuilt to what it was before the betrayal ever happened. And that, it takes time, effort, and consistency, and a willingness from both sides to go through the process and not skip past it. Before we move forward, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. In early 2025, 2 researchers, Marco Giacobbe and Dr. Fanny Lalott, set out to answer, can trust in a relationship ever be repaired? They come through every major database And what they were looking for wasn't theories, but real-world studies, actual evidence of couples who had broken trust and somehow found their way back. After reviewing 13 of the most relevant studies, they discovered something remarkable. Despite different methods, different couples, and different betrayals, the same 5 themes kept showing up in the couples who healed. Proactive transparency, not just answering questions when asked, but offering information freely. Couples rebuilt trust when the betraying partner went out of their way to be clear, open, and preemptively honest, especially around triggers of betrayal. Active monitoring. This didn't mean surveillance. It meant accountability. Partners willingly allowed their behavior to be observed, shared locations, opened up their schedules, and made space for reassurance, because safety had to come before pride. Remorse and accountability. Genuine trust repair requires more than guilt. It requires taking ownership of what happened and showing consistent behavior to back it up. This is one of the most powerful predictors of trust being rebuilt. Shared activities. Healing didn't just happen through talking, it happened through doing. Couples that reconnected over routine, mutual goals, hobbies, or even simple rituals rebuilt emotional closeness, and with it, the scaffolding for trust. Clear communication of the reasons for betrayal, and here's where things get uncomfortable. But couples who healed didn't sweep the betrayal under the rug. They talked through the why, even when it was hard, even when it revealed deeper wounds. Because clarity builds context, and context is what builds compassion. Researchers also pointed out that most studies still have their limitations. Sample sizes are small, and some rely too heavily on self-report. But the consistency of these 5 patterns suggests one thing. There is a way back. Not an easy one, not a guaranteed one, but a real evidence-based path toward repair. But here's something that most couples don't realize. Trying to rebuild trust on your own is possible, but it's not guaranteed, because trust repair is more than just saying the right things. It's about shifting patterns, emotional, psychological, and relational. And without guidance, it's easy to fall back into the very behaviors that broke the trust in the first place. That's where support makes all the difference. A 2025 study by Dr. Manoj Danishpur found that couples therapy doesn't just improve communication, it actively helps partners restore relational fairness, justice, and trust. In this model, therapists guide couples through 5 dimensions: psychological dynamics, past family legacies, communication breakdowns, ethics of care, and power imbalances. The results? Couples who entered therapy after betrayal were far more likely to regain a sense of fairness in the relationship, understand the root cause of their relational patterns, not just the symptoms, shift from blame to shared accountability, rebuild trust through empathy, validation, and ethical give and take, and break generational cycles of mistrust and destructive entitlement. Because in couples therapy, trust isn't just talked about, it's practiced, moment by moment, choice by choice, with someone skilled enough to hold both people accountable and still move the relationship forward. I'm Jordan Travers, the clinical director of Awake Therapy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.